Hey there! Yeah, I'm remaking another video. Compared to the old one, I have my new look, and there's virtually no mistakes compared to the old one this time. Well, I, the Big Bad Wolf, have another record review for you all, but this time it's a non-Disney title. Yes, this may be a little unusual of me, but it is a wolf-related title, this time from Peter Pan Records, one of Disney Records' biggest rivals. Take a look. Yep, the Peter Pan read-along version of Little Red Riding Hood from the 1970s. And take a look at how dapper the wolf is. He's more well-dressed than I am. Look at those spats, the trousers, and gloves. Kinda reminds me of my friend Foulfellow, aka Honest John. This is a 1981 reprint, since it has the Peter Pan Records mascot at the time, Barney the Book Bear. Let's see here. Also note the taglines they used. Look, the book follows the recording word for word, and it's fun to read as you hear. And on the back, take a look. It doesn't specifically mention the audio format, as they are being released on both record and cassette during this time, hence referring to it as a recording. The blurb of text here says, "Introduce your children to the wonderful world of reading. It's easy and fun to learn the Peter Pan way. The full-color book follows the recording word for word. A signal tells you when to turn the page. Fun and educational, with music, sound effects, and dramatic action." Now, some of you might remember for what a certain coyote reviewed a Peter Pan read-along title on this YouTube channel, dismissing it as being cheap. But the audio here is an earlier title that was actually originally recorded back in 1950, almost more like a well-produced radio drama. Plus, since it doesn't use existing characters, it's an added plus. Also, the illustrations here were done by George Peede, the brother of Disney story man Bill Peet. George Peede did a little work for Disney at one time, too. However, this version of the story is still quite different from how you'd expect a tale to go. Let's have a listen. There.
Hi, boys and girls. I'm Barney the Book Bear, the bear on Peter Pan Talking Books. When you hear this sound, turn the page. Okay, ready? Here we go.
In a faraway land, there once lived a little girl called Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, that's radio personality Jack Arthur narrating it.
Well, she loved to run through the woods to visit her grandmother who lived in the next village. So the little girl's mother made her a bright red hood to wear, so her father could see her a long ways off.
She has a father? I didn't know that. I guess he eventually died getting lung cancer from smoking that pipe a lot.
Little one, here are some goodies for your grandmother.
And Cecil Roy's doing the female voices on this.
Dear, don't stop and talk with anyone on the way.
Going through the woods, Little Red Riding Hood heard a rough, gruff voice. Where are you going, Little Red Riding Hood?
Doesn't sound that gruff to me.
Who lives in the little white house in the next village through the woods.
Little Red Riding Hood wasn't afraid of the wolf because she liked animals and was always friendly with them. But the wolf, oh, he was a bad one. He ran as fast as the wind.
Yeah, with that stock flying wind sound effect, like they use with Superman flying.
Who's there?
It's your grandchild,
Ugh.
Little Red Riding Hood.
That's not very
And
good
I brought you
sound.
some nice things to eat.
Well, pull the bobbin, child, and the latch will fly up.
So the wolf pulled the bobbin, and the door opened. When she saw the wolf, Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother ran quickly away.
Turn the record over, and we'll continue on the other side.
Ah. Yeah, that's kind of loose. Not bad so far, huh? On the original releases, the narrator or a different generic voice would introduce the story and tell you to turn the record over. They also had a ding kind of sound as a turn of page signal. While the later versions like this replaced it with an electronic chime. Also, note how Grandma just runs away there. She never comes back in the story. It's also worth noting that George P'd liked to add a lot of little animals in the story. Like, there's a mouse in there, and there's a little rabbit there. He likes to make the woods be alive and full of animals and stuff. Let me turn the record over, and I'll show you the rest of the story.
Here we are on the second side of the record. Let's read together again.
Because he was very hungry and hadn't eaten for 3 days.
I don't know if I could go that long without eating.
So he could gobble her up.
Yep.
So he put on Grandma's clothes and nightcap and got into bed. Soon Little Red Riding Hood arrived and knocked at the door. Who's there?
It's your grandchild, Little Red Riding Hood.
Well, pull the bobbin, child, and the latch will fly up.
That voice isn't gonna fool her.
Little Red Riding Hood opened the door and went in. She put the basket on the table and went over to sit on the side of the bed to be near her grandmother. But oh, she was frightened to see how her grandmother looked.
Grandmother, what big ears you have.
The better to hear you, my
And
child.
they cut right to the
What
chase.
big eyes you have.
The better to see you, my child.
Grandmother, what big teeth you have.
The better to eat you up, my child.
Boy, they went for that real quickly. It was like they're just trying to get it out of the way.
Little Red Riding Hood jumped up and ran quickly out of the house through the woods to her home.
The wolf's putting his dapper outfit back on
Her father
there.
saw her from a long ways off and came running to meet her. And from that time on, Little Red Riding Hood never stopped to talk with strangers.
And look at how it ends here. Red never got to see her grandma. There was no woodcutter, thank goodness. And if we go to the final page, it says here that the wolf has escaped. It just kind of ends like that, as there is no text on the final page. Like, but how did they know about? How did the press find out about what happened? Did Little Red Riding Hood's parents call the paper or something? Were they bored on a story idea? There's no text on the final page there too. Definitely different from Disney's read-alongs. Yeah. As you may recall, Disney did do their own version of the Little Red Riding Hood read-along, a more generic take on the story, drawn in a UPA-influenced style. You saw me review both the record version and the cassette edition. But still stay tuned to this channel, like always.